Okay. So what we're going to be doing. Good. If we go into our resources folder, okay, you already know where you're submitting your article analysis. First thing, and I added this to your article analysis, okay? The first thing is you have to save your document properly. You all know how to save a document for us. Do this for your professors as well. It will save them a lot of time and they'll be grateful for it. You need to make sure that you save your last name, article analysis 1. When you hand in your article analysis 2, you're going to do last name, article analysis 2. If you neglect to save properly, you will receive an automatic 2-point deduction off your grade. I can guarantee it will only happen once, though, because you won't do it again. Okay. So, an article analysis of 49 out of 50 looks like this. Proper MLA heading. Okay. And then the article analysis number. Now you'll see the questions that we posed to you yesterday on your article analysis sheet. You guys asked if you could put them at the top of your page. You're more than welcome to. Use it as a checklist. Literally use your rubric as a checklist. If you can tick off everything there, you'll be fine. Okay, so this was human activities threaten the world's oceans. Does anybody have the world's oceans in here? No? Okay. The author states that oceans are being taken for granted and are seen as a waste dump that is infinite. He believes that there is collective neglect and the things leading oceans to a major crisis are overfishing, pollution, acidification, and plastics. He successfully defined the term acidification as it plays a major role in threatening marine life. When the ocean absorbs carbon dioxide from fossil fuel, it turns acidic, causing a decline in fish and other creatures. He recognizes that humanity is coming to an understanding of how important oceans are, but he also argues that humanity needs to understand how to move forward and realize the changes that are needed to make in lifestyle and laws for the greater good of the oceans. So do we have an idea of this writer's thesis? Where would you think that this student author identifies the writer's thesis? Right there. How do I know that? How do I recognize a thesis? The points, right? There are points that the points that are addressed in the article show up in the thesis statement. These are the points addressed in the article.
That I will prove.
Yeah.
He believes that.
Okay. Okay. Successfully defined the term acidification. Are there any terms that need identifying? Yes, he defined this term for us. Now, this writer actually went in to what acidification is. Didn't need to, right? But this student writer had the word space left to do it. Did all the other stuff well. It's okay. Actually, if somebody pull up your
Sorry to
rubric.
interrupt, but the following students need to see Mr. Cosgrove, please. Adam Antol, Andrew Hanna, Ryan Sisselman, and Philip Betsis.
Okay.
Thank you.
The only one that questions me is Philip.
It's probably like to sign off on something.
Yeah, it's for the yearbook and that's racist.
How is that racist at all? You guys,
Ryan, don't say things like that. That you absolutely sound very foolish. Okay. Did somebody pull up that thing? The
What do
sheet?
you want me to pull up?
I want you to pull up the article analysis worksheet so that you know exactly what questions. I just want to double check that we're not missing any questions.
You're
Question one. Give me a question and we'll see if they answered it.
What is the writer's thesis?
What is the writer's thesis? We answered it. What's the next one?
What claims are being asserted?
What claims are being asserted? Okay. The author states the oceans are being taken for granted. That is the claim. Seen as a waste dump. That's a claim. There's collective neglect, right? That's in the thesis statement. These are all his claims. What else?
What assumptions are being made?
Okay. Is he making assumptions here? They do address it because the author says he recognizes that humanity is coming to an understanding of how important oceans are. But he also argues that humanity needs to understand how to move forward, right? So he's making assumptions that humanity is doing something, but he's furthering that it's still not enough and they need more help. Okay, next question.
Are important terms satisfactorily defined?
Important term. Yes, it's defined. What else?
What support is offered on behalf of the claim?
Okay. What support is being offered on behalf of the claim? He chooses lifestyle. Understand and needs to move forward. Realizes that changes are needed to make in lifestyle and laws for the greater good of the oceans. Okay. So now we move on to our second point. Now again, you can bullet point this. You can write number 2, but all of the questions in that second section need to be satisfied.
How's the title again? Sorry, just go to the top.
Human activities threaten the world's oceans.
So it's in quotes and all the way left.
In quotes all the way to the left.
Are we gonna have this example?
It's on Schoology. This is available to you. Yep.
You
Okay.
can also use the words that the questions and turn them into statements if you need to. That works better for you.
Right.
The author's thesis is you can be more direct. And
You can
say,
literally go question by question and say, the author's thesis is, the terms the author defines are. You can literally just change it all into statements. Yeah.
For the 3 bullets, do they have to within the bullet, does it have to flow, or is it just literally state?
If you answer each of the questions in the order that they are presented, it will have a natural flow. It won't be artistic flow. It won't be that creative, but that is by design.
it doesn't
It's meant to
need
be
a
very
creative-
factual, very straightforward,
As long as the question's answered.
as long as the question's answered. Okay. Bullet point 2 for all of the questions too. The article lays out how each of the 5 problems the oceans face have made an impact over time by providing relevant statistics and graphs. For example, to show the millions of tons of runoff fertilizer in developing nations, he uses an in detail graph from agricultural runoff fuels, large phytoplankton blooms, and vulnerable areas of the ocean by Michael Beeman in 2005. He uses references when talking about acidification from the New York Times to back up his claims that ocean acidity will have a detrimental impact over the years. Instead of just making claims, he states facts and his opinions, but makes them credible by providing statistics such as,
Pardon the interruption, could Chris Popper come and guidance, please?
wrong classroom.
We can study hall.
If he's in study hall, they're in the cafeteria.
Yeah, Chris Copper will be there.
I'll send him right down. Nearly 90% of floating marine litter is composed of plastic. Baha'i International Community. And recent studies indicated that the number of fish species has declined by 50% in the last 50 years. Baha'i International Community. All of his references are relevant and give the reader a deeper understanding of his points. Okay,
So
go
those
back
are
and ask me the
claims-
questions.
Claims have facts to back them up. So he demonstrated that there are claims and this is what it is that backs it up.
I can't get all in there. All right, first question, Mary, go ahead.
Are the examples relevant and are they convincing?
Are the examples relevant and convincing? For example, he shows the millions of tons of runoff fertilizer. Instead of just making claims, he states facts and his opinions, but makes them credible by providing statistics such as, all these references are relevant Good? Next question.
If authorities are cited, are they indeed authorities on the topic and can they be regarded as impartial?
This, when we look at, by J. Michael Beeman in 2005, he uses references when talking about acidification from the New York Times to back up his claims that the ocean acidity will have detrimental impact. Instead of just making claims, he states facts and his opinions. Okay? Now, he did not give us more information as to whether, are you on your phone? Because that's not going to help you.
I'm sorry.
If we are talking about the Baha'i international community, now that doesn't mean anything to the lay person, but it might be a very great resource. This 1 point off comes from not really giving us, and not just adding in those words, these sources are impartial, right? We have the credibility. He says they're credible, but he does not say to me, he does not say to Ms. Lynn and myself, and they are impartial. That point would have been gotten if he literally said, and they are impartial. Okay? Next one.
Is the argument logical and valid?
Okay. Going back, so you see this statement makes them credible by using statistics such as, he uses opinions, states facts and his opinions, okay? So that gives us the idea that this is logical. And whenever we see our numbers, whenever we see statistics brought in, what do we think of in terms of ethos, pathos, logos? We think logos, right? So it gives us, the statistics lead to the idea of logic. Next.
Is there an appeal to the reader's emotions and is this appeal acceptable?
Okay, all of his references are relevant and give the reader a deeper understanding of his points. They could have done better. This author could have done better with that, right? Is there an appeal to emotion? Though this author does stay really to just its fact, its references from these groups, and they more imply that there's no emotion rather than outright say it.
The next paragraph sort of addresses that a little bit, where it should have been above.
Some of what happens in paragraph 2 at the top is a bleed over from the questions of paragraph 1. The last question in paragraph 1, is there support for the claims? This student author decided to address that down here, and that is okay, right? Because often in our grouping of questions 1, questions 2, questions 3, the last question is meant to lead into the next subgroup. Same with questions 2 going into questions 3. Does that make sense? You can, much like in any other paragraphing situation, your conclusion sentence from your previous paragraph can sort of be a lead-in to the topic sentence of your following paragraph. It's the same idea here. This person decided to group it that way. Okay. Read me the questions for 3.
Does the writer seem to be fair?
And? Is that it?
That's all that it says on.
Great. Okay. Does the writer seem to be fair? So they took that last, is the writer impartial part, and brought it into here. It is clear that the author believes the damage done to oceans is going to be hard to fix because there is already so much done that cannot be taken back. However, he sticks to stating the facts and letting the statistics speak for his points, and is fair. You have to have that point in there, and is fair. Okay? Now this is the paired article. Okay? The threat to the world's oceans can be overcome. I'm just going to read it all the way through, and then we're going to go more quickly through the questions, and then I'll take any questions you guys have. Adam, you playing a game back there?
I'm not.
What are you doing?
I'm on Google.
You're not on this.
No.
No.
Pull that up though.
The threat to the world's oceans can be overcome. The author states that even though oceans are in a state of decline, the problems are not irreversible and the pollution and overfishing can be overcome with awareness. He argues that part of the problem is ocean conservationists have not made the problems as prominent as they should be, so they have not grasped the public's attention. He believes there is optimism in all aspects of it and there is room for a turnaround. It's up to politics and leaders to raise awareness and up to the public to change environmental issues for the better. The bulk of the article is opinion based off of reports in the past, such as Packard, Oak, and Munson Foundations, looking at the effectiveness of the ocean conservation movement. His claims about the conservationists needing more political power are not based solely on hard evidence, but more of his assumptions and theory. He references how in 2003 they launched the first political organizations for the oceans to promote politicians who focus on taking care of the oceans. By observation, he claims that the early efforts they have made will make a difference, but there is no statistics or numbers to really back it up. The author does criticize conservationists for not bringing more attention to the public, but he remains neutral when presenting his points and his efforts to bring a call to action. Now, I'd like for you guys to pair up, and I want one of you, pull up like Mary just did with me. You're going to pull up the questions. The other of you are going to pull up this article, which is also available to you under our resources folder in our purple article analysis folder. And you're literally going to go across. Is this question answered? Is this question answered? Is this question answered? I will tell you on this one, the author really is very clear. The student author is very clear in answering all the questions. And that balances out this pairing of article analyses. Okay, any questions before we go on? Can you think of any questions that Thomas or Kat or Thomas Ryan might ask or might be confused about? Ryan?
Well, so like this is due on Friday, right?
This is due Friday.
For all 4 or 6.
No, there's only one. Just one. So
One
not a
due
pair, just one of the
Not
two.
a pair.
So
You
there's
have
one source due Friday on that.
one article due Friday. You handed in Friday. On Monday, we let you know how you did.
Now I know exactly what to do.
There you go.
So
Griffin.
do we bring up the questions at all?
You should, right now, with your partner,
Well, yeah, that is
yes, you should bring up the questions in your writing.
my go-to partner.
You should answer each of the questions. You should make it clear when you are answering each of the questions. You don't need to do anything. Listen to this. You don't need to do anything outside of answering those questions on this paper. I am not looking for style. I am not looking for panache. I am looking for this, well done, good grammar.
And we're doing this with our partner right now.
You're doing this with your partner right now.
So like go through the articles we have and see if we just do.